What's up, everybody? It's Polish Pete, and this rod bend right here is a bittersweet one for me. This is my last rod bend you'll see from me here at Omnia Fishing, because I've taken a new opportunity in the fishing industry that's come my way that I've been working towards for a long time in my career. So right now I'm feeling very grateful for all my friends here at Omnia Fishing and all the opportunities that it's provided me. And thank you to all of you along the way that have been our faithful customers and followers on our socials and in all of our content pieces we've done. I'm very excited about that. If you're interested in what I'm doing in the future, you can find me on Instagram at PolishPete. Otherwise, just keep your eyes peeled. I'll be out there in the fishing industry for sure. Thanks again to all you Omnia followers and customers. It means the world to me the last few years, and it's set me up really well for this new opportunity that I'm very excited about. This rod bend, however, is a very important one because this was another one that was customer or our viewer requested. We just recently posted the one about the high-end casting rods, where we only had four of the models in stock, and a lot of people commented they wanted to see spinning. So instead of waiting till we got the other ones in stock and doing another four-piece part two, we just figured we'd start with part one in spinning and the bougie rods. So we had a bunch of those. So we're going to do that right now, but I don't want to forget this, okay? Being that this is my last one, and being that these have been pretty popular, at least on our site, and certainly that's growing on YouTube as well, we wanted to get to 7,000 subscribers as a goal of ours. So, $200 gift card to a lucky winner that subscribed to our YouTube channel, likes this video, and comments as well. When we hit 7,000 subscribers, we are going to announce the winner. Do not give your credit card information to someone who reaches out to you saying that you won, or buy any t-shirts from them or anything like that. This is strictly for the viewers of these rod bend videos, and we will announce the winner, and we will never ask you for your credit card information ever for anything for winning something. So, without further ado, let's get into fancy spin rods. And we're going to start it off with a Megabass Windbuster, which is a 7-foot 2-inch medium power, medium fast action that weighs 3.7 ounces. That's right, 3.7 ounces. And with this really lightweight little Lew's custom on here that I'll be taking home with me, maybe. I might leave it for these guys to keep doing rod bends. This one here is a very popular model in the P5 Destroyer lineup from Megabass, specifically the Windbuster. Every time we get these in, they go pretty quick. Handle on here, this one you would think, knowing me anyway, my taste, I like foregrips. You think I wouldn't like this? This reel seat, this handle configuration has grown on me immensely. And I mean it. I've actually fished with with two models in this family, but I have not fished with this Windbuster though, however. But I still hold my hand above the reel seat on these, and the hump in this lands perfectly the base of my palm and gives me lots of leverage, and I really like it. It's minimalistic, keeps my hand on the blank, still feels forearmish, foregripish to me. It's not 100% the exact way I love it, but for a minimalistic, lightweight rod, I think this is a great mix. And if you are a split fingerer by any means, this is one of the nicest reel seats I've seen out there for a minimalistic reel seat, all right? It's really hard to fancy up something this small, but I think Megabass just tastefully does it again. It's understated. It's got some nice hits of color up above it and stuff, but other than that, really, really nice reel seat, very ergonomic, very nice. This, like I said, is a very popular high-end rod with us. They do move pretty quickly when we do get them in stock, so if you're in the market for a high-end rod like this one here, you might want to jump on them because I know we have a couple right now. So going to bend, the Megabass Windbuster, 3.7 ounce, 7-foot, 2-inch, medium power, medium fast action. All right, Megabass Windbuster. Like I said, it's 3.7 ounces. We're looking at a medium fast action. I was very interested to see what this one felt like because it felt pretty moderate when I bent it with a line on it, and it looks pretty moderate from here. This doesn't necessarily look like a medium fast to me. Now, where I'm going to back them up with their rating as a medium fast is this rod's got a lot more power than it feels like. Like when you're just picking it up and holding it, it feels like a spinning rod, a finesse presentation rod. This feels like it's got a lot more meat to it once you bend it on the wall. I've got the line hooked down there and it's pulling back significantly. So when they say Windbuster, I've heard a whole bunch of different opinions on what this rod would shine at. Obviously fishing in the wind, right? Because it's got some backbone and some length to cast into the wind, and you could get, clean up some line with a little bit of length there, that's 7.2, and having a little bit of power. And this action in particular is really nice for landing fish and getting any sort of like bait you're moving through the water column hooked better. So if you're gonna do things like, I don't know, throw a small, tiny crankbait on a spinning rod, people do that. That would work great. I think of little swim baits, right? Like if I want to throw a single hooked little Kitech, little spark shad, something along those lines, probably should call it spark shad with a Megabass rod, right? Little teeny jig heads or little hooks, stuff like that. This will get a hook in them and land that fish really well. I do, like I said, get the medium fast. I do. It's pulling back. Like you're setting the hook right here in the bend of the rod. But you're definitely fighting the fish with a moderate action. So I am going to back them up on the action. I think it's true to form a medium fast. So cool rod here. Would be a really good rod to have if you like covering water with a spinning rod. This would be a really good one for that. All right, next up, this one here is a very popular rod series for us here at Omnia Fishing. The very, very popular Dobyns Ecstasy lineup. This is Dobyns' top of the line lineup of rods. I have fished with a handful of models, 3 models I think, in the casting versions. I have not fished with any of the spinning models. But I'm guessing a lot of you could guess why I've never tracked down one of the Dobyns spinning rod models to fish with. It's because of this. I'm not a fan of having no foregrip on the rod at all, but I will say, that is just an opinion of mine. You don't need one. Lots of people that are better at fishing than me split their fingers on the reel seat like that, for sure. This has plenty of handle up there for me to hang on to and fish like a foregrip. And it is a finished foregrip on here. I shouldn't call it a foregrip. The winding check or the chuck or however you want to call it is smooth and nice and finished. So it's not going to tear your hands up. You can hang on to it. And it is a material that is going to transfer some vibration as well. It's not a deadened material up here or anything like that. So I'm not opposed to trying this one at all. I guess just looking at it from afar, it always made it look to me like the rod was sort of unfinished up here. I wanted some sort of handle up here, but I'll be honest with you, this feels pretty nice. And I know a lot of my friends that have fished with these rods are going to tell me to shut up and talk about how nice this rod is, because the blanks and the Ecstasies are extremely, extremely nice for the money, even though these are real high-end rods. These are $500 plus rods, but they are popular and they are really nice. High-end guides on them, and the blanks feel really crisp and alive. They're unpainted and unsanded up top, finished down here with a real nice high finish. Dobyns uses great cork for the money too. They have really nice cork on them. Impressed with all the Dobyns rods, to be honest with you. It was something I learned from Omnia Fishing here, and I'm glad they exposed it to me. A lot of you customers told us to get Dobyns, and when we got it in-house, I learned real quick why this brand of rods is so popular, not only for value, but in the high end as well. This one here is a 7.2, medium light, fast action. And this one came in at 4 ounces flat. So let's go bend the Dobyns Ecstasy 7.2 medium light. All right, we're back now with that Dobyns Ecstasy and the 7.2 medium light, 4 ounces. This is a fast action rod. It certainly is fast. It looks almost medium fast from here, but just the tip section to me is pulling back. It's not climbing into the back, but like way back into the rod for me. So I would definitely agree with them. This is a fast action rod. I'm getting a lot more tip action in this one instead of the whole end of the middle of the top end of the rod kind of bending back on me. I am getting a lot more tip section on here. So this would be a great rod for any sort of bottom contact stuff. Anytime I want to fish a bait in place, even if it's suspended, if I want to leave it in an area and kind of impart action on it, but be able to set the hook, no matter if I have a bow in my line or if I got a lot of just loose line out there, not taut line on it, I can get a hook set on them really quick. And when I do really peel into them really hard like that, I'm using the middle of the rod to fight the fish. So you've probably seen us talk about that a lot on here. I find that to be a huge plus, especially with today's modern lines, and we're running a lot of line-to-line connections. I love to have a tip on the rod that I'm actually imparting action on my bait with and even setting the hook with. But when I'm fighting that fish and I'm next to the boat and I'm really putting a lot of pressure on that fish, I'm using a lot of that spinning rod and not just the tip section. That does tend to help you, especially when you're fishing deeper water and those fish. Think about this, like for a largemouth or a smallmouth, 20 foot deep, that's really just the length of your boat. When you're next time you're standing your trolling motor and you look back at the back of the boat and realize how fast a smallmouth can make that line up, or can make up that distance, they'll slack your line out like in a blink of an eye, and that's why a lot of times you lose them when they jump. Having that whole rod load up like that is important because you can keep that rod bent over. You know, it's easier to keep it bent over, applying a lot more pressure on them. It's got way more rod to keep tension on that fish than just the tip straightening out on you and you're losing all tension on that fish. So cool action here on this rod. I'm impressed with it and it feels alive. It definitely is. It is what you think it's going to be. It feels high end and crisp. So if you're a Dobyns fan, this is definitely one to look at for sure. All right, here we go, guys. You know this one was asked for a whole bunch. Even in our last video, and I mentioned it, that we just didn't have a casting model in stock. Well, we had some spinning, so this is the Poison Ultima. And let me tell you, these things are as pretty in person as they are online looking at the pictures. And I saw them when they were coming out. I was like, well, those look freaking deadly. They are deadly. They look really, really nice in hand. If you're an aesthetics person, there really isn't a lot of stuff that looks more high-end than this rod on the market. I mean it. The plastic's still on this thing, so bear with like the really intense shimmer to these handles because it's got that protective plastic on it because someone's still going to buy this one. This one's a 7-foot medium, fast action, came in at 3.6 ounces, so extremely light. And I don't know what the material is. I should have looked that up on here on the foregrip. I'm assuming it's some sort of carbon mesh material. It's smooth. It's not like grippy or anything like that. It's very smooth feeling. But this thing feels absolutely alive. I know I say that about lots of other rods, but I mean, let's be honest, this is a little bit different level of alive. And the price point indicates that. Look it up. They're over 800 bucks. I know that much. I think well over. Really, really beautiful rods. They have very unique guide trains on them. Obviously a very, very general rod action and power here, right? I mean, 7-foot medium fast action in a JDM very limited edition type rod or hard to get your hands on rod. I love that they went with a staple rod. And if you guys know me, a 7-foot medium rod's a great rod to own. I would love if I was going to pay this kind of money for a rod, which I'm not in the market for at the moment, but if I had it in my budget, this would be the length and action I would want because I could do a lot of stuff with this. I wouldn't buy it and tie a lure on it and wait to I go somewhere I can use that lure. I could use this thing for anything, so pretty impressed with this thing so far. Let's go bend the Poison Ultima 7-foot medium fast. All right, back with this beauty here. Man, this thing's nice. The more you hang on to it, the more you want it. Like I kind of wish I wasn't doing this one. It doesn't feel as fast as I expected it to, but I will tell you this, it's faster than it looks, at least to me from here. Again, like I say, different vantage points here you have than I have, but to me it's looking, you know, pretty mod fast or moderate even, like just when I've got it, this is into the backbone pretty good right here. But like when I just load it up a little bit, I'm definitely getting pulled back in those first 4 guides up there. Like I'm getting the tip section up there. It's more fast than it is mod fast even. I'll tell you this thing feels really nice. I don't know how to explain it. I'm having a hard time kind of putting words to this one. It just feels like it's got like, as moderate as the action looks to the eye, to me, it feels like the action's instantaneous with this rod. The blank material feels different. I don't know how to explain that. I mean, obviously it is a different blank material than the traditional Poison Adrena or like different rods than we bend a lot. I hope so at least because this thing's expensive. It feels different though. It feels like it's bending different even. Like it almost feels like they achieved like moderate bend to a blank, but with like different sections of power to it, if that makes any sense whatsoever. It feels like the tip section's like a different material almost because it just like, it feels very special. All I'll say is that. Like, I didn't really want one of these things other than just looking at it. Obviously, if someone gave me one, I'd be super proud to own it. But I would never probably spend this kind of money on one or chase one down. I kind of want one now, not gonna lie, I kind of do. This thing's awesome. So Poison Ultima 7 foot medium fast. It's a spendy one, but it's a nice one. All right, next up, gonna burn through last two here. Got the Steez. You know we'd be talking about a Steez if we're here. We do well, obviously, with Daiwa at this place, and this is, we just, on the previous video where we're doing casting fancy rods, we talked about the Daiwa Steez utility player and that. In casting, this is the Daiwa Steez utility player spin. AGS guides, as you know before. These rods, to me, are some of the nicest high-end rods on the market. And like I said, I'm a little biased on this one just because I own some of these. I have a couple models in spinning that I've fished with a lot. I own one right now, or I think I own two. I can't remember now. But I definitely have one that I really like right now, and I can get into that down the road for you guys in something else, but not on these videos, sadly. But I have the 610 Ned rod in this with the wild little like ice fishing tip on it. That rod's so fun. I just have it for just fun purposes, and man, that thing's a blast. But this one here, this is a serious player. This is your utility player. If you are a more competitive angler, or you're literally a trophy angler, you're a destination angler, things like that, and you have a lot of rods, and you're using your nicer equipment, all that kind of stuff, this is a rod that has a lot of purpose for a competitive angler. If you fish a lot of different baits and things of that nature, or let's say you're a person that only owns a few high-end rods and you love your high-end stuff and you want to use it for a bunch of stuff, that would be this rod right here. So the utility player in this is a 7-1 medium and a fast action. So, you know, doesn't get much more versatile than 7 foot medium, 7-1. So you got an extra inch there if you're fishing from shore. Or if you're sitting down in a kayak, you get some distance and a cast out of this one for sure. But, you know, my 1 inch. This one here has a beautiful foregrip on it. I like the cork that they use on this. You guys know how I feel about that. So, but if you are a split gripper, this does have a comfortable feel to it. But obviously the handle was designed with a foregripper in mind. These do feature that removable Fuji, but the upgraded version, so you have a hole to stick an open exposed hook through. You also have a hook there for either drop shot weights or also Texapose baits. You don't have to unhook a Texapose bait like a drop shot or something like that. They have Texapose with a lighter wire hook. So cool rod here from Daiwa. Let's go bend the Daiwa Steez 7-1 medium fast action utility player. All right, Steez utility player 7-1 medium fast action, and this is much faster than the other fast action rods. Feels much faster, and it looks much faster from here as well. It's climbing into the backbone really fast, backbone being way further up the rod than the other ones. So you are going to be using the tip section of this rod a little bit more than the other ones that we've been playing with so far. I think a lot of times that it does aid in sensitivity a little bit when they're rigid up in the top of the rod like that a little bit more. You know, if you are looking for bottom contact stuff or fishing around any sort of vegetation, maybe a little bit of bump up in line. Power, I mean. So, you know, your 15-pound braids, 20-pound braids with like 10-pound leaders, 12-pound leaders, that kind of stuff. This would be a great rod for that. It feels kind of almost medium heavy-ish, especially after bending the other ones. This one's definitely the brute of the ones that we've bent so far. It doesn't, you know, what's nice is those Steez, they feel great. They're just really nice rods. So if you are in the market for a fast action medium power rod and a high-end rod, if you're looking to fish a little bit more cover with a little bit bigger line than getting down into that 6-pound test stuff and all that, this would be the one of the bunch so far. All right, last rod for me ever bending on this wall. Kind of sad. But you're going to see a bunch of new faces on these, which I'm excited about because, one, they're all smarter than me, and two, they all fish a whole bunch and they have different opinions than I have, that's what's important about this type of content. You need to hear from a whole bunch of different people. So you're going to get Kip and Ethan, you're going to get Joe and Jacob from the merchandising team, and hoping to kick them off with their favorite rods, so you kind of get a taste for what the kind of rods these guys fish with. Jacob's really into the high-end stuff. Kip's got a bunch of unique stuff we don't sell here at Omnia a lot of. Joe's very good tournament angler, very accomplished tournament angler, uses a lot of Shimano rods, stuff like that. We got Ethan that uses a lot of Lew's stuff. So you're going to see different opinions from those guys, and I look forward to that content. I'll be tuning in for that, and you'll look for me in the comments on those guys' stuff because I'm excited to see that. So please support those guys and as they move on with the rod bends here. This one we had to do because even though it doesn't match up really with the other rods, which are a little bit more in that versatile range that we've been talking about, just because we sell this thing like it's a very popular NRX model for us here at Omnia. This is the 901 NRX. This thing is a 7.6 medium light fast action, and it came in at 3.3 ounces. That's right, the lightest one of the bunch, and it's 7 foot 6 inches. It is a lighter power though, so, but it's pretty impressive, a 7.6 rod coming at 3.3 ounces. If you remember in the past rod bends we did, there's a sneaky rod I talked about that came in at 3.32. That's a hard one to find. We don't have them here, but go do your homework on the other ones that I think is a real special spinning rod too. But this one here is one of the most popular hair jig rods there is. Now obviously there's a ton of other stuff you can do with it than fish a hair jig. I hate when people pigeonhole a rod completely, but up here in my neck of the woods and where we are filming this, that's what this rod's really popular for. It's one of the fanciest hair jig rods on planet Earth. Let's go bend the NRX 901 7.6 medium light fast action. This is that 901 NRX, and man, it definitely is tough for me to call it fast action. I will say this, for being as long as it is, a 7.6, it does have a tip section, very much so has a tip section. When I want to impart action on it, or if I wanted to just set the hook real fast, something like that, that tip section of the rod is setting the hook. It is going to pull back on some lines significantly. So I'm not going to dispute fast action, but my personal opinion, even a moderate amount of pressure and the rod's coming past that tip quite a bit. And if you could see, that tip kind of holds its form. It's like a little stiffer, like straight section. So I think that's how you're getting a little bit of tip up there with a light amount of action, but any power whatsoever, it's getting almost moderate there. So I guess my personal opinion, this is more of a mod fast than it is a true fast action. That's just my experience of the rods, I guess. I would put that in that boat, which makes it probably why it's such an incredible fluff chucker. What I mean by that is the little hair jigs with a little bit of Senko on them, they can be tough to cast, especially if you don't know that little Senko trick in the hair jig. And there's tons of content on there if you're unfamiliar, but get it in the water and you really give it a good crack and you hear that rod, that noise, the rod makes a whipping noise, and you're really whipping on it hard to get that little hair jig to fly ways out there. Now, that's not the only thing you can do with rods like this. Obviously, you can throw tiny little swim baits. Another big technique for this is spy baits, because that's a fish losing technique, man. I'm going to tell you right now. If you've ever fished for money with a spy bait, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That is a hell of a way to lose a big fish, but it's a hell of a way to hook them too. And this is a rod that's going to aid you in landing that because of the action of the rod and your ability to cast it so far. Because when you really load up on this rod and crack on it, it's going to cast really far because of this blank kind of having a stiffer tip section up there and a little softer in the middle there. It's pretty impressive. This rod is going to be friendly to you with really light line, and I think it's got enough backbone with how long this rod is and where you see where the rod is and the backbone part of that, you wouldn't be limited to only running super, super light line on it. If you wanted this soft in action with some decent powered line, this rod could handle it, but honestly, it's going to shine at some light line and throwing really light lures really far. Really cool rod here from G Loomis. Why it's so popular as a fancy rod. If you want the most expensive hair jig rod I think you can buy, check this thing out, the NRX 901. And please remember, we're doing that giveaway for the $200 gift card. Once we hit 7,000 subscribers, we're going to pick a winner that likes this video, comments on this video, and is subscribed to our YouTube channel. And remember, we're not going to ask you for your credit card. Don't get botted on this thing. Make sure that you look for when we announce the winner and reach out to us, and we'll take care of it. We won't ever ask you for your credit card. So take care. Thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. Wish me luck, and I wish all the guys here at Omnia Fishing success. Keep tuning in to all the rod bend videos.